Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Endless Endeavor podcast with me, Greg Anderson. This is going to be episode 14. And last week I had my buddy Tyler Stanaway on, and I've got a lot of good feedback from that episode. People enjoyed it, and we felt like we only got through about a quarter of what we wanted to talk about. So instead of waiting to reschedule, we figured why not just hammer it out now, and we have Tyler back today. This is going to be only an audio recording this week because I got sick. We had to cancel, and for production purposes, audio only. So if you're a YouTuber, I apologize. Deal with it. So yeah, what's up, Tyler?
Oh, just coming back to hang out with you. Crushing life. Cool,
man. Yeah, I got, I don't think it was the Rona, but I went down for about 2 days, and dude, it hit me hard. I feel like the older you get, the worse sicknesses hit you. And I got like a real bad headache. And I mean, whatever, you get sick, that's part of life. But it cost me my 75 hard program that I'm doing.
I've seen that.
And I'm pissed about that.
I bet that's twice now, right?
That's twice now. So yeah, anyone that's not familiar with 75 hard, it's a program that's made by Andy Frisella, and he's one of the First Form guys. And it's 75 days of clean eating, no alcohol, 2 workouts a day, a gallon of water a day, and then progress pictures. And I felt myself getting sick early in the day. So I knocked both my workouts out in that morning. And then everything else was going good. And I started getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And then it was like 8:30 at night. I was miserable. Just a pounding migraine. And Jenny's like, hey, you got 30 ounces of water left. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, I will vomit everywhere if I try and swallow 1 more ounce of water. And also, I was in such pain that I didn't care either.
Right.
I was like, I don't give a fuck about 75 hard. I can't even, like, if you look behind you, see the modem right there?
Yep.
That flashing light on it? We had to put tape over that.
Really?
Because that little light flashing out of the modem felt like knives going into my fucking brain, dude.
Oh, that's no good.
So yeah, I'm actually kind of worried. So yeah, if there's any neuroscientists out there, send me a DM. Let me know what's up.
It's funny you say that because I was sick at the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you sent me that message yesterday saying you're kind of down and out, same thing on, what is it, Friday? Tuesday, I was at work just dragging ass. My buddy's like, what's wrong? I'm like, dude, I just don't fucking feel very well. Well, then when I got home, I tell Vanessa, and anytime I'm sick, Vanessa thinks I'm full of shit. But if anyone's listening, Vanessa's my wife, and I love her to death, but she will give me like no slack when it comes to being sick.
Well, that's because, I mean, I get that from Jenny too, because girls handle sickness way better than we do.
Way better.
I'm a fucking bitch when I'm sick.
Dude, me too.
First to admit it. Like, I'll fight someone to the death.
Yep.
I'm down with that.
Yep.
I got a cold and some sniffles. I'm up on the couch fucking whining all day.
So am I, dude. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I can own that. But so anyway, she was fucking not having it, huh?
No, and then finally I was like, look, I ate like, I don't know, a bite of dinner, and I'm like, I'm going to lay down. I have the fattest headache. Like, I can't do school with the kids. I can't do nothing. And then Wednesday I was still feeling shitty, but a little bit better. And then yesterday I was finally like, okay, because I had fatigue. Like, I'm at work trying to weld, and I just want to lay down.
Bro, I think it's the same thing. We probably shared bugs at Jiu Jitsu.
It's probably. I don't know.
And the thing
it
is,
could be
like,
the smoke maybe too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we're up in Seattle, so it's been real smoky. And that's actually what I thought it was the first day, because air quality up here got a rating of, I don't remember how the rating structure works, but they said it's equivalent of smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, well, no wonder I feel like shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hot. Most places here don't have AC.
Yeah.
And so with it muggy and smoky, we turned the fan on. Fucking blew that shit in our face all night. I woke up feeling terrible.
We're about to turn this fan on. Yeah, so that's the second time I failed the 75 hard program, and it was both times I failed was on day 45. To the day, dude.
That's weird.
Yeah, so I'm 90 days into this, and I haven't successfully passed it yet. So, but my birthday's coming up this month, and we're going to Mexico, so I'm not starting over.
Yep.
You know, I think I'm going to hit it after the new year probably. Give it one more go. But the interesting thing about that program is it's all the things that I mentioned, and I forgot to mention you have to read every day too. Minimum of 10 pages, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you hold yourself to a minimum of 10 pages a day, you find yourself burning through books.
Yeah.
I've read more books in 90 days of 75 hard than I have probably the last 5 years combined.
Wow.
Yeah. So what it does is it just develops a habit.
Right.
Like at some point today, I'm going to sit down with a book and I'm going to dedicate some time to it. And that right there starts to build those new pathways and your new norm, you know?
Which we should all probably be doing anyways, rather than watching fucking Kardashians or whatever it is.
Bro, they say the most successful people in the world read.
I believe it.
That's one thing that's like a commonality between all successful people. And it's funny, I got a buddy who's very well off. He runs he has some businesses that he's done very well for himself. And I sent him the book that I'm reading. I said, hey man, because he's a ultra runner. I said, hey, you should check this out. And he goes, all right, I'll add it to the queue. I'm already down 51 books this year.
Holy shit.
I'll put that in the queue. And I'm like, 51 books this year? Well, no wonder he's successful.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Right.
He reads and runs ultra marathons. And it's interesting because it's so easy. I mean, I feel like the recipe for success isn't a difficult one. Just implementing it is what's difficult.
Well, especially when you have all these distractions. How much easier is it to get home, take your shoes off, crack a beer, sit on the couch, and be hypnotized by whatever the fuck it is you're watching?
Yeah, or start scrolling through your phone again.
Every day, all day.
Did you see that documentary, The Social Dilemma? Do you know, are you familiar with what it is?
Mm-mm.
So it's a documentary, and it's a bunch of people that used to work for companies like TikTok, Facebook, Google.
Okay.
And people that are high up in those companies that had like pivotal roles bringing those companies to where they're at. And it talks about how this wasn't even a secret. Like they would be in their board meetings figuring out algorithms to keep people addicted to their phones. Straight up. And what you realize, the biggest takeaway from that documentary, and it was actually the day I was sick, so I only got through half of it before my head started throbbing so bad.
Yep.
So I haven't finished it yet. But they said anytime that something is created, there's a product being sold and somebody's the consumer. And you would think if we're staring at our phones all the time, we're the consumers, right? And they're like, actually, you're looking at it backwards. They're keeping our eyes stuck to those phones so they can sell that as advertisement hours.
Motherfuckers.
We're the product. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
We're the product that's being sold. And because they've dialed in these algorithms to figure out like where you're at, what your hobbies are, your age, your sex, your race, like your phone knows more about you than you know about you. And so they have all these algorithms. It's like, all right, Tyler likes Jiu Jitsu and motocross, and he has 3 kids, and he's a welder. All that shit is compiled somewhere, and then they sell that to advertisers that push a bunch of shit that would interest you onto your screen, so your eyes are seeing that.
That's why all my ads is shit that I want.
Yeah.
Constantly.
And bro, they even take it a step further. And I don't know, I watched something else on this. I don't know if that was on this documentary or not, but how your phone is listening to you.
I believe that because I had never researched something, and this happened maybe like 5 months ago, and I was at work talking with a buddy of mine, and then like, I don't know, must have been lunch or something, and I'm scrolling through whatever, Facebook, Instagram, and all of a sudden it pops up like as a, buy here or whatever, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck is this, dude?
Yeah.
There's a YouTube video of a guy who did an experiment, and he's like, hey, check it out. I think my phone's listening to me, so I'm setting up an experiment. I don't own a cat. I've never owned a cat. I hate cats. There are no cats in this house. I don't deal with cats in any way, shape, or form, period. But we're going to start talking about needing to buy cat food. And he goes, and me and I think it was his girlfriend, like throughout the day randomly, like, hey, did you get the cat food yet? Oh, I forgot to get to the cat food. I forgot to go to the store to get the cat food. And they added that just into their dialogue in their house. And then he starts scrolling through his Instagram. Fucking cat food.
Bingo.
Yeah, dude.
Dude.
And I mean, it's like anything on the internet. you don't know the validity to it. You don't know if it's bullshit or not,
Right.
but it could be. And if it is, that's pretty fucking interesting.
It is. And to me, it's like, it goes both ways because I don't know what's out there that I want. I mean, some of it, but I've also came across shit that I'd never even heard of that, I'm a sucker for ads, dude.
Yeah.
They get me all the time.
I always tell everybody I'm a salesman, dream come true.
Yes, dude. I'll buy anything if you sell it to me good enough.
That's hilarious, dude. Yeah. So, but the other side of it is I like the social media connection.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of good that comes from that. Like, even though you do get addicted to a bunch of bullshit that doesn't add value to your life, there's also a really good aspect of social media, connecting like-minded people, sharing information outside of like major news networks where all your media is being basically spoon-fed whatever they want you to consume.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting to be able to get on Instagram and follow people that you think are like, you're like-minded or you're inspired by what they're doing, like Mike Glover.
Right.
That big American contingency movement that he's created. He wouldn't be able to do that without the internet.
No, hell no.
And now he has people all over the country that are on board. And that's powerful shit, man.
Yep.
Because you're connecting the like-minded people.
Yeah. Worldwide.
And if shit ever does go sideways, which we'll get into that in a minute, because that's kind of been my focus this week. But if shit goes sideways and you have a network of people that's already connected, and sure, even if the grid goes down and comms go down, I mean, part of our conversation was talking about ham radios.
Mm-hmm.
So by having that conversation now, while the grid is up, if it ever does go bad, that network's already in place now.
Right.
You know, and that's all done through Instagram.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's great, dude. So yeah, speaking of Instagram, I wanted to talk to you about this. I shared, so I was watching, I think his name's, Tegan. I might be saying that wrong. He was one of the guys that was in Benghazi.
Okay.
And I follow him on Instagram. He has a lot of followers, and he was sharing things about the Biden campaign, like screenshots from Biden's website.
Okay.
And so I was like, that seems kind of outrageous. I have to go to Biden's website, and I have to see this for myself because it's fucking crazy, right? And dude, I started looking at some of the policies that they want to implement,
mm-hmm.
and it's just clear as day that a lot of what's being pushed on that site is just like, hey, we'll take care of you. Vote for us and we'll take care of you. But there's no real meat and potatoes to what they're saying. And so I was talking to one of my buddies about it, and he goes, bro, did you hear what Biden said about F-15s and AK-47s? And I was like, I didn't see that yet, man. So he sent it to me, and I shared it on my Instagram, and that thing blew up, man. And did you see that?
Yes, I did. Because you had, I think you may have even just sent it to me, like my personal phone.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm at work, whatever. I look at it and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?
So I'm going to play that right now. And if I feel like Rogan talking to Jamie, we might get pulled for this.
Oh, well.
Like, I don't know what the copyright laws are. So I'll talk to my production company. Maybe we'll pull this. So if you're listening and you don't hear it, it's because it got pulled, but we'll still talk about it because it's real interesting, the stuff that he was saying. So let's see if we can get that to come through. All right, here we go.
Liberty is water with the blood of patriots. A great line. Well, guess what? The fact is, if you're going to take on the government, you need an F-15 with Hellfire missiles. There's no way an AK-47 is going to take care of you if you're going to take on, you're worried about the government coming down, knocking down your door. And so it's bizarre. We never said you could own any weapon at all from the beginning. You can't own a machine gun. You can't own a bazooka. You can't own an M1 tank. No matter how much money you have, you can limit the kind of weapons that are able to be owned. And so I think, and by the way, all the work I've done on this, including in our administration, I now have over 58% of the NRA members acknowledging you can't own an assault weapon. There's no need for it. You can't have a magazine that has more than 10 rounds in it.
All right, so we can talk about that 54-second video for the next 3 hours. Where to start? So he says, if you want to take on the government, you're going to need an F-15 with Hellfire missiles. Your AK-47 isn't going to do you any good if we come knocking on your door. What the fuck is that?
Dude.
Like, that is so inflammatory. Like, you're basically saying, if we want to fucking crush you, we can.
Yeah. And there ain't shit you can do about it.
There ain't shit you can do about it. But what's even more alarming is he's saying, your AK-47 isn't going to do you any good, so we're going to take them anyways.
Yeah.
So if you're standing up there saying your AK does you no good, then why are you going to take them? Why do you want to take them? You know what I mean?
What do you think?
Well, obviously, we all know why they want to take them.
Mm-hmm.
Because a population that is armed is not controlled by their government. Their government is controlled by the people.
Exactly.
Which is how it's supposed to be.
And if you look at history and look at all the, emperors or whoever, what's the first thing they do before they take over?
Yeah, anytime you disarm the population, now you're just a sitting duck.
Yep.
And so, but not only is he stating these things, but he's talking out of his fucking ass the whole time. And like he says, you're going to need an F-15 with Hellfire missiles. And I'm not expecting everybody to be a military history buff, right? But when you want to be the commander-in-chief of the United States military, the F-15 was decommissioned like 10 years ago. There's still some that are in commission in like Air National Guard units, but the F-22 Raptor is what's replaced that, right? Secondarily to that, no fast mover or a fighter jet carries a Hellfire missile. Hellfire missiles are delivered from helicopters, Predator drones, and I think the only fixed wing aircraft that can fire Hellfires is the AC-130. Again, I might be wrong, so if people are like, you idiot, blah, but the point is, he clearly doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Right. So
why would you stand up in front of a room full of people and start talking about weapon systems that have nothing to do with each other? The F-15 and the Hellfire missile were never paired as an airframe and a munition. And then he goes on to say, so he goes, if the government comes knocking on your door, you're going to need a lot more than that. Listen, we never said you could have any weapon.
Yeah, he did say that.
That phrase right there is the most atrocious thing I've ever heard out of a politician's mouth. We never said you. Think about that, man. Like, of the people, for the people, by the people. That's the United States government. And you're fucking standing on a stage saying, we never said you. I mean, that's some fucking like monarchy shit. They're not even trying to hide the fact that they think that the political elite are up on a pedestal. Like, they've thought that for years, but they've tried to play down to us because they think people are dumb. Like, oh no, we're on your team and we're going to take care of you. And now he's standing up there saying, we never said you could have this.
Isn't it in writing?
Yeah, I think that. Yes, I can't remember. Where's that written down somewhere?
I'm pretty sure it's written down somewhere from a long time ago.
Yeah, dude.
Like,
and the stupid thing about people that say like, well, the Second Amendment was written when you had muskets. Yeah, both sides had muskets.
Yep.
So that's why it was an even playing field. The whole purpose of it is to create an even playing field. That's it, man. Like, it has nothing to do with hunting. It has nothing to do with duck hunting. It's just asinine.
It tells you right in that writing I was just talking about, right? It says
shall not be infringed.
Yeah. And of
well-regulated militia
for government tyranny.
And it's like, yeah, dude. And the founding fathers literally fought off government tyranny with muskets.
Yeah.
They literally did that. This isn't an idea that they just pulled from ether, that just materialized out of thin air. They watched their buddies die on the field of battle fighting tyranny. And guess what? The strongest army and navy on the face of planet Earth was defeated with men with muskets.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is that those farmers, those dads and husbands who were willing to starve and freeze or whatever it took to go take on the greatest empire the world had ever seen at the time, they fucking kicked their ass, dude.
And so then I started looking into his website and reading some of the things that he was
What is
saying.
Biden's website? Because I've seen some other shit on the internet about if you go to Antifa.com, it takes you to Biden's website or something.
I just typed in Biden 2020 and it popped up like I think that's what it is.
Okay.
I might be fucking that up, but it says Biden Harris with their logo, and it says, I started clicking through the weapons things, and it said, we're going to buy back assault weapons and high capacity magazines already in our communities. Biden will also institute a program to buy back weapons of war currently on our streets. This will give individuals that now possess assault weapons and high capacity magazines two options: sell the weapon to the government or register them under the National Firearms Act. And the National Firearms Act is where if you have like a machine gun or a suppressor, like they monitor that stuff very closely, which I don't think they should be allowed to monitor shit.
No.
I don't think they should be able to monitor a fucking thing, dude.
I thought we were supposed to be on an even playing field.
Exactly.
Where's
right.
my fucking tank and submarine?
And so right on the website, it says Biden will institute a program to buy back weapons of war from our communities. Dude, so the term assault rifle wasn't inflammatory enough.
No, it didn't scare enough people.
Now they're weapons of war. And this stuff is just so fucking infuriating to me because all you have to go do, look at the FBI statistics. Look at Chicago. Look at Baltimore. Look at these cities that are just fucking consumed with inner city violence, gang violence, drug violence. Like these guys that live in these cities, and I lived in LA and I used to fucking deal with people down in Compton and whatnot. 4th, 5th generation slinging dope, pimping hoes.
Yep.
Okay. That's the overwhelming majority of gun violence. And so you can't say like, we're going to buy back weapons of war that are currently on our streets, because you've already shown that you don't give a fuck about violence in our streets. You guys have done nothing to address all of these ghettos and try and build those people up through education and through like public assistance and things that actually get people on their feet. They don't give a shit about that. And it's not people with nice AR-15s shooting each other on the streets. It's gangbanger violence with shitty fucking handguns that probably jam just as often as they fire. And now they're painting the picture that guys like you and I, because I have like 10 AR-15s, right? The guys like you and I are the ones that are out on the streets committing active violence. That's not the case.
No, it's not the case. And since you are a veteran and you know plenty of people, can you please tell me when you were in war what AR-15 you were using? Or were you using M4s or
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
SCARs or
Colt
whatever it is?
M4s. But here's the thing that always bugs me about this. So as an 18-year-old kid, this government is comfortable sending me to all these different countries all over the world with a machine gun or an M4 and just walking on patrol through the streets. Like, but as soon as I come back to America, you no longer trust me with that weapon system? Well, why is that? Why is that? If you trust me to carry that weapon system in communities on other sides of planet Earth, why don't you trust me to carry that weapon system in my house to protect my family? And I almost think it's offensive to like the Afghani and the Iraqi people.
I think so.
Like, hey, I'll send this guy to walk through your house and walk through your streets with all this stuff, but we don't trust him to have it back home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's bullshit.
And the other thing that's bullshit, like, I want to go to one of these town hall meetings where I get to directly like ask questions, right? Because I wanted to be at that meeting where Joe Biden was saying that stuff and be like, hey, I have a question for you, sir. Can you describe the weapon platform that your security detail is using?
His personal?
His personal security detail. I want to know what weapon platform they're using. And he'd probably be like, oh, well, you know, some bullshit.
Some AR-14s.
And then I'd say, actually, it was a rhetorical question and I don't need an answer because I work State Department protection and Department of Justice protection for years. I used to do Supreme Court Justice security details. I know exactly what weapon system government diplomats and government officials are using in their motorcades to protect them. They have armored limos. Every guy has a Glock 9mm of some variation and an AR-15. And so you're driving around Los Angeles. You're not in a war zone. Why do you need 6 U.S. Marshals with AR-15s to drive through Los Angeles? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
To go to the Justice O'Connor Museum. Why would you need that? And the answer is they want it for their protection. Okay. And I can be down with that.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that. But if you need this weapon system for your protection, why am I, who is an electrician or a plumber or like yourself, a welder, a normal hardworking American, why am I not afforded that weapon system for the protection of me and my family?
Because I'm a piss on.
That's exactly right.
That's why.
That's what it is.
I am inferior to him, or he is superior to me.
So if you want to say no AR-15s, no AR-15s in your fucking protection detail either.
Yeah.
I would love to see if they're going to get rid of all of their assault weapons for their protection details. We all know the answer to that already.
Yeah.
They're not going to give up their protection, and they're not going to risk their security. But your family, fuck you. I mean, that's what's going on here. And that's why so many people are furious about it. And I wrote on my Instagram, and I got like 700 comments on this now. People are going hard. But a couple of the things that I wrote that really resonated with people is I said, Biden says you need an F-15 with Hellfire missiles to take on the government, and then an AK will do you no good. I have one word for you, Afghanistan. You would think the fact that the longest war in American history is against an insurgency would clue him into this. Conventional armies are actually easier to fight. Guys in the mountains with no rules, no timeline, no uniforms, and the will to fight are motherfuckers. Keep doubting the American people.
Yeah.
Because that's it, man. Some of the hardest fights in our country's history. Look at fighting in Vietnam. Same thing.
Yep.
An ununiformed opponent that didn't abide by any rules. Fuck, dude. There's nothing you can... It's so hard to fight an insurgency. And the reason it's so hard to fight an insurgency is because you're not necessarily fighting a conventional army where it's like, okay, this government is against this government.
Right.
And now you and I meet on the field of battle. And outside of this setting, we might be homies, but our government's told us to fight, so we're going to fight. That's a lot different energy than this is my fucking house. This is my family. This is my security. This is my freedom. I'm fucking coming for you at all costs, no matter what. The people that have that ideology, that's an ideology. It's not an army. And fighting an ideology is impossible.
Yeah.
We've been fighting an ideology in the Middle East now for 20 years. And where's it gotten us? You know? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think we've done a lot of good things in the Middle East. We wiped out ISIS. But at the same time, it's kind of like a revolving door.
Right.
Like one problem vanishes and then another one pops up. Because it's that power vacuum, you know? And so it's just asinine that he's saying that you an AK-47 is not going to do you any good. Read a fucking book. And you'll realize almost immediately that the toughest fights in our history were against insurgencies. Hiding, dude, and we talked about this before we pushed record, is that if someone wants to kill you and you don't know where they're coming from, you don't know when they're coming, you don't know their mode of attack, you don't know how many people they're bringing, like it's just a bunch of unknowns, good luck defending yourself against that.
Definitely.
It's almost impossible, you know?
Yep.
And so... I'm sorry. I'm kind of going on a rant here. I'll let Tyler talk in a minute.
No. This is good. This is good.
But I got a couple more things from that website that I was looking at, and I was just like, oh, this has nothing to do with like policies trying to move our country in a better direction. It's about just appeasing people to get votes. So this is another thing that it says on his website. Oh, it's just joebiden.com.
Okay.
The screenshot of this, actually, I got the actual website as well. It says Joe Biden will ban the manufacture and sale of assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Federal law prevents hunters from hunting migratory birds, with more than 3 shells in their shotgun. That means our federal law does more to protect ducks than children. Are you out of your fucking mind, dude? Like, one is wildlife management.
Yeah.
Okay. They're literally managing wildlife resources. And people that are a lot smarter than me have determined what bag limits should be and how many rounds you should be able to have in your gun and what the season is and what ducks you can shoot, what ducks you can't shoot based on managing the wildlife. It has nothing to do with the safety of ducks.
No.
Right?
No.
Like, what the fuck are they talking about? And so when you say the federal law does more to protect ducks than children, and it's wrong. Yeah, it says that. And it's wrong. Joe Biden will enact legislation once again to ban assault weapons. This time, the ban will be designed based on the lessons learned from the 1994 ban. For example, the ban on assault weapons will be designed to prevent manufacturers from circumventing the law and making minor changes that don't limit the weapon's lethality. It's just a bunch of fear mongering.
And I'm going to chime in real quick.
Please do. You're my guest, right?
Because that really pisses me off. And what pisses me off about it is that we all know just because you make something illegal doesn't mean it goes away. People still fucking speed their car every day, even though the law is whatever. Or ever since the war on drugs, no one's gotten fucking high. Like, dude, come on now. Or like you said, Chicago, New York, LA, I don't know all the where guns are banned.
Yeah.
Yet murder's up tenfold.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe some people will say, oh, well, there's less shootings. Well, who gives a fuck how they died? Murder's up tenfold. And the only people who have guns are piece of shit criminals.
Yep.
So what? All of us good guys gonna hide behind what when they come?
Knives. Well, and that's the thing, man. Like, statistically, someone sent this to me when I posted that. They said more people are killed with fists and feet than rifles.
I believe it.
And again, I'm regurgitating something. So if you go look that up. But yeah, that actually does make sense. Because the overwhelming majority of gun deaths are A, criminal activity, gang violence, and B, suicides.
Yep.
I think suicides are like for almost 50% of gun deaths. And that's probably something that we should look at. Probably. Because that's painting a very different narrative than guys like you and I just going out on the streets and shooting people because we own AR-15s. I mean, it's so clear. It's crystal clear. I don't even see how there's two sides to this argument that they want people to not have weapons because they're intimidated by it.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
And that's it. It's like the question keeps coming up. Why does the government not want you to have weapons? Because they're intimidated? Intimidated of what?
Yeah, because they want ultimate power. I mean, it's just clear as day. The coronavirus thing, if you haven't seen what the government has done with the coronavirus thing, your eyes aren't open. You know? And I had my best friend, Sheely, on here talking about what he experienced as a doctor, right? And yeah, the coronavirus is absolutely a real thing. It's not a hoax. It's not fabricated. It's a real thing that's very dangerous if you're over 75 years old, if you're very unhealthy, if you have other comorbidities. But if you don't have those things and you're not in that demographic, you're probably going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's been established and that's well understood. Yet here we are. I can't go out to a restaurant and sit with my family and a friend because there's too many people at the table.
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about that last time on here.
I think that was on.
Oh, it was with Brian.
Yeah,
huh?
I think it was somebody else.
Yeah,
but
they made my daughters, 2 young daughters, go sit at a separate table.
No, fuck you.
It's asinine, dude.
It's so fucking retarded that I went to go buy some coffee and like a can of chew and some gas, and the lady goes, "Sir, I'm gonna need you to put this mask on." And I'm at Shell over in Wenatchee, and I go, "No, I'm not putting that on." And she pulls out the box from underneath the dusty cash register and is like, "Sir, I need you to put this on." Well, even if the coronavirus, like even if that wasn't, I'm not putting that dusty ass mask on from underneath your cash register for one.
Yeah. That
So
you've
she-
handed to how many other customers?
So she tells me I need to leave, and I was like, okay, no big deal. Well, her friend or the other chick working there goes, but we can bring it out to you. And I said, okay, cool. I'll meet you outside.
Thank you.
Can you want to like get a note and a pen to write down my order? And she goes, well, go ahead and pick whatever it is you want in the store, and then put it up on the cash register. And then when you're done, go wait outside. I go, okay. So I go and get a bunch of shit, and I put it on the cash register, and I go, okay, I'll go wait outside. And she comes and brings it out to me.
Isn't that bizarre? Because coronavirus doesn't spread outside.
Oh, well, it just whenever I'm paying.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Whenever you're paying.
Yeah, whenever I'm paying. And I heard another guy say about, because when this first came out, you could use like if you actually have asthma or some type of medical problem that's actually going to inhibit your ability if you wear a mask.
Uh-huh.
But then over a period of time, it stopped working. So you can't really use it some places.
So people that have COPD and asthma and emphysema have to cover their face?
Yeah, and the dude in the wheelchair needs to get up and fucking walk.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's just ridiculous.
It is.
Dude.
Well, I was listening to some guy and he said he couldn't put it on because of asthma. And the chick told him it was fine if he needed to cut a hole for his mouth and nose, but he had to put the mask on. No joke. He can cut a hole in the mask for his mouth and nose to breathe better, but it's important he puts a mask on. That's behavior manipulation.
There's this girl I follow on Instagram, Brojack. Shout out. She's cool, man. And she shared a meme that said,
I know her actually.
Oh, you actually know her?
No, I know.
You know
no,
who she,
I know who
okay.
she is. Sorry, let me retract that statement. I know who you're talking
Vanessa. He doesn't know her.
about. No, honey. I know you though.
So she sent a meme out on her story and it said, I almost caught the coronavirus today, but then I saw the sticker on the floor in the store that I was in and jumped on it and was okay.
Oh, good. That thing saved her life.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Dude, like, in some of the stickers you see, they're 6 feet apart, like front to back.
Yeah.
Side to side, they're like 18 inches apart.
Exactly.
I saw another meme that's like, thank God the coronavirus can only travel back and forward and not side to side.
Oh my God. There's so like we could go on forever.
No, but
about
here's
that
the
shit.
thing. It's that our government is forcing businesses. This is how they manipulated the system, because people as individuals were fed up with it. People as individuals were fed up with it on May 5th when I made my video.
Yep.
Everybody was already at the point where they're ready to say, fuck you, Gavin Newsom.
Mhm.
Fuck you, Jay Inslee. That's where people were at with all this, right? So then they took a step back and they thought, okay, how can we really implement this from a strategic standpoint? Let's threaten business licenses.
Fear.
We're going to make the businesses do what we want to do, and it's going to be up to them to enforce it. Because that's what it's boiled down to now. The businesses are being forced to enforce it under threat of having their business license pulled and or a $10,000 fine. At least in Washington State, that's what they're saying. And so people are like, okay, my business is my livelihood. I can't lose this, so I have to enforce your orders. That's exactly what's going on.
Yep.
The day that the government removes these mask mandates, no business is going to care.
Nope.
And if they do, that's up to them. They're a private business. Hey, I'd prefer you still wear a mask in here. And if you don't want to, then you're not welcome here. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, that's
it's
fine.
a private enterprise.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
But you're going to see 99% of businesses, they're not going to give a fuck about a mask. You know what they're going to give a fuck about? Is having customers come in so they don't go under, like half of them already have.
Which that's something that I have personally noticed. And I just brought this up to, I think, my brother the other day. I said, because in the last podcast, right? I don't wear a mask, guys. Doesn't matter where I go. I don't put it on. Well, I'll always try.
Yeah.
Then I get kicked out and I'll go to a different place.
Yep.
But what I have found out is that immigrants, like a dude who runs a 7-Eleven, or some of these like Korean chicks who have like the teriyaki joint, or other little like corner stores, little supermarkets, they never ever kick me out.
It's because they want your money.
Because it's their livelihood.
They're smart business people.
And they'll have a mask or a face shield on or whatever, and I've even had them say, "Hey, sir, you need to put it on."
Yeah.
And I go, "No, I'm here to get chips." Oh, okay.
Yeah. And my dad used to tell me that because he was a very savvy businessman, and he came from nothing and became very successful through small business.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the immigrants are some of the most savvy business people that he's ever dealt with, because when you come from Cambodia and concentration camps and you're eating beetles, he had an employee that was literally, I believe he was Cambodian, and him and his family were in a concentration camp eating beetles. They escaped, and they had to carry like the kids over their head through like swamps and shit. Just gnarly story. He got to America, and then he started working for my dad at my dad's transmission shop.
Okay.
Saved every single penny that my dad paid him. And then he came to my dad like a year or 2 or 3 later and was like, hey, I saved all my money, and now me and my wife are going to open our own shop. And my dad was like, dude, awesome. I'm stoked for you. That's the American dream.
Yeah.
And he helped him out starting that. And so he opened his own business, and my dad, like, he didn't play a role in that business, but just through knowing him, he kind of saw its operation and saw how hard they worked.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you can't compete with that. People that come from his background are now in America, and the only thing you need to do is work hard and you're all set. Like, it's a dream come true for them.
Game over.
They'll work 17-hour days. Like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a house now. Oh, hell yeah.
Right.
We're not going to get killed. Like, it's just a completely different perspective, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you take people and you force them to adhere to a government mandate or threaten their livelihood, to me, that should be where people are. You want to talk about a reason to protest in the streets? Right there.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I don't think we should protest. I think we should all just open.
Well, that's the other thing is, if they say, oh, we'll revoke your business license. We'll give you a 10,000.
Yeah,
if no one fucking follows the rules, fuck you.
I'm not paying your fine, and I'm going to remain open.
And even if you did take my business license, fuck you. I'm still here.
I'm still here.
I don't care about my license, and neither does this guy who wants my
and
product.
I've said that about my gym,
Yep.
and it's not me being inflammatory or trying to act like a tough guy, because it's actually the opposite. Like, I just want to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
My gym is open, and we're training.
Yep.
Everybody that trains is an adult, and everybody that trains has determined their risk of the coronavirus and what they're comfortable with and what they're not comfortable with. And if you try and shut me down, I'm not going to shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you try and force me to shut down, well, now you want to engage in combat.
Yeah. That's it. It's
That's
like
it.
They are picking the fight that, and you've brought it up before. This is a fight they don't fucking want.
Of course,
that's why they want our guns gone. They know they're going to get their ass whooped. Or if they're going to come knock on our door and fucking take them all.
Well, and what are they going to do? Are they going to send the police out to do that? I mean, that's going to put police in a real, real bad spot.
I thought they didn't want the police.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't want police until they need to take your weapons.
Yeah.
And
or the Hellfire missiles or the F-15s. Aren't American Patriots flying those?
Yeah, exactly. And the American Patriots,
they ain't gonna.
They're not going to turn on their.
No,
people.
they won't.
But yeah, if they ask cops to partake in this mandatory weapons buyback, that's going to be the most dangerous time in the history of planet Earth to be a police officer. Hey, I'm here to confiscate a weapon that you could kill me with that I know you don't want to give up. And what are they going to pay for the buyback?
$50? Didn't you say? Did I just make that up?
I heard somebody posted it's $50 for pistols, $350 for rifles. My rifle was $10,000.
No,
$10,000. Shut the fuck up, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Stump commented on my page, and he said, "Hey, in order to buy something back, doesn't that imply that you sold it to me?"
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, good point, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And then all the accessories that go along with it, right? Sights or optics are fucking more expensive than the rifle itself.
And if they don't want to buy that back, what am I going to do with a Elcan Spectre that was $3,000 without my rifle? Go fucking bird watch with it?
That's right.
Fuck you. Dude.
Right.
But no, like, so if these cops, I was actually really upset with the law enforcement community when I saw them doing all these things to people. I mean, that's no secret. That's why I made that video.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking into these mics right now, and this is why the podcast was created. But I was really upset when I saw how police officers were treating people, because this is how I look at it. Like, I came from the Rangers. I came from a special operations background. I understand chain of command. I understand the authority of the people that are above me. But I also understand that what is immoral, illegal, or unethical is something that should not be tolerated at any rank, regardless if you're private through general. Any person in the military is expected to step up and say, hey, that's wrong. That's not how we do business. If you're out on an objective and a new private sees a platoon sergeant doing something illegal, immoral, or unethical, he should be able to say, hey, sergeant, that's not how we do business.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously, very, very rarely is an E2 going to step to an E7, right? But my point of saying that is that's why that structure and that mentality is preached in the military, because we do want to operate and conduct ourselves in a way that is legal, moral, and ethical. And so if you don't hold yourself to that standard, well, it's a real slippery slope, even though I hate that phrase. Well, it's the truth, right?
It is. And it's morale versus obey.
Yes. And so I was thinking about like Newsom with his slicked back hair.
What a fucking clown, that guy.
And threatening to shut people's water and their power off. Think about that. I lived in LA. You shut someone's power off, that's a death sentence, especially in the summer without AC. And then I think about all these cops, and it's like, a lot of you guys are veterans. A lot of you guys have seen war. A lot of you guys have killed other human beings. And it's like, I look at myself and I know I'm not the baddest dude. I'm not the toughest dude. But I'm a lot fucking badder than Gavin Newsom and Jay Inslee. I've done a lot of real shit. I've been through a lot of hard times. And I'll be damned if some fucking dude sitting in an office wearing a fancy suit is going to tell me how to conduct myself morally, legally, and ethically. You can fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Every cop should be saying that. You don't get to dictate what is moral, legal, and ethical just because you're sitting in some Capitol building. That is not how this country works.
No.
And, you know, like, I think everybody needs to kind of look at themselves and be like, listen, and I'm not saying like, fuck you to Gavin Newsom and Jay Inslee because I want to be some badass.
No, it's because of the policies they're trying to implement on the American people.
It's because I want to just live my life.
Yeah.
I just want to be me, you know? Like, I want to have the freedoms to go to Jiu Jitsu and fucking have my kids trick or treat.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for outrageous shit, dude.
Right.
Gavin Newsom said he's going to cancel Halloween. What the what?
How is he in charge of Halloween?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I didn't know the governor is in charge of Halloween. That's the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. I think Joe Rogan said like that was one of the straws that broke the camel's back.
Where he left.
He's like, dude, this guy thinks he gets to dictate if we have Halloween or not. And he said, dude, the way he said it was awesome. He said, Halloween, the one time where we're all outside and we're all wearing masks.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And that's the one they want to cancel. You know?
Do you know if that's happening here?
I heard it's been going back and forth. We're going to trick or treat.
I was going to say, I'm going trick or treating.
And I'm going to tell my kids that I want them to basically devise a costume that is, they're not wearing masks this year.
Yeah, no. I'm just going to go as a normal person because
Yeah.
apparently not wearing a mask scares the shit out of people. So
That's the saddest part about all this, though, is that the people in power have successfully created a plan to where they turn a guy like you against a person that is fearful of the coronavirus. And these narratives have been spoon-fed to everybody through their TVs for so long that now when someone sees you without a mask on,
dude, they hate me.
they don't care about the data. They don't care about the facts. And they're probably, the truth is, they're probably not bad people in their hearts. They've just been manipulated by a corrupt system. So you're the enemy now.
That's it. Like I said before, I have good friends, like some of my best friends who I don't know that how best of friends we may be
Over a bunch of government bullshit, you know?
It's sad. It's like, dude, we've grown up together. We've rode bikes. We've gone to parties. We've done everything together. And because I don't want to wear an N95 or a bandana around my mask when I can go into the shell and put whatever I want on the cash register as long as I can go out and pay for it outdoors. That now, if shit hit the fan, that you might turn on me, or that you think, it's like I get these looks like I'm a fucking felon.
I know. Yeah, isn't it bizarre?
Dude, if we would have talked about a year ago,
I know, we'd be like, dude, knock it off. This is ridiculous.
it's ridiculous.
I have a friend who's part of an anti-mask coalition.
Okay.
And they get like 100 people together and they go shopping in places. Okay. And here's he's cool, man. I like this guy. Yeah. He was in Ranger Regiment as well. But then I think about, like, while I do want to fight against the system, doing that might just create a lot of fear in people.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, are you moving? Is it going to move us forward, or is it going to cause more division?
Yeah, more turmoil.
And more turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man, because I tend to think that is going to just create like a fear response in a lot of people. And is that going to move us forward? I think the biggest thing we need to do is unify against the government.
I think so too. I'm no matter what our differences are, I truly believe we all want the same thing.
Of course we do.
They think that because I don't wear a mask that I don't give a shit about other people.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
No. And because they wear a mask that they do. Well, at the end of the day, we both actually want the same thing. And that's why I don't want to wear the mask. I don't want, to me, the consequences of acquiescing to these tyrannical orders far exceeds the consequences of
getting sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I look at my children, or maybe my great-grandchildren one day, and the lives that they will have to live because of our inability to stand up for what's right or what's wrong. That's a hill I'm willing to die on.
Yes, dude. And I mean, we lost so many rights after 9/11, during the Patriot Act.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, we're doing this for your security. We can listen into your phone calls. We can look at your emails, but we're not going to, and the people would be like, that defended that, like, dude, if you're not doing anything wrong, why are you worried about it?
Well, it's not about that.
It's not about that. It's about, you have it's none of your fucking business what I'm doing, where I'm going, who I'm talking to. It's none of your business.
Yeah.
Okay. Until you have what's called like reasonable suspicion that I'm involved in some type of criminal activity, leave me the fuck alone. But people willingly gave up their rights because everybody was afraid.
Yep.
Like, well, we don't want to get attacked again. And you got to there's a part of me that understands that.
Of course.
You know,
of course.
3,000 people were killed by noon,
mm-hmm.
you know? Yeah, we don't want that to happen again. So how do we mitigate that? And so people were willing to be like, hey, whatever the government needs, take it. And I'm going to butcher the comment. I think it was Churchill that said, like, let no crisis go to waste or something,
mm-hmm.
where it's like, they're taking advantage of this.
They sure are.
And it's 9/11, they took advantage of it. And now they're doing the same thing with coronavirus. And it's just bizarre, man, that the government uses these crises that hit our country and then use it as a tool to manipulate and seize power.
Yep.
It's just real bizarre.
And I've read in books, they call it problem, reaction, solution. And there's a problem, whether it's artificial or natural, then the population reacts in a certain way. And then the government comes up with a solution, which fucking pigeonholes that cattle further down that road.
Yeah.
And
look at us, we're taking care of you.
Exactly. And the other thing about it is that in these times of crisis, like 9/11, where we understand, right? We're scared. We don't want a terrorist attack to happen again. Well, when they do this stuff, and now COVID, if anybody thinks that when this is all said and done, that it's going to go back exactly how it was before it started.
Yeah, they're wrong.
They're wrong. It will never. And that's the shitty part, is like they might revoke, some things.
They're not even hiding it.
No.
They're now throwing the term around the new norm.
And it is the new normal. Look at the fuckers out I went hiking or camping out in the mountains, 20 miles out in the mountains. Dude's out there hiking by himself
with mask on.
With a mask on. Like, bro, take your fucking mask off and breathe that fresh, evergreen Pacific Northwest air.
Yeah, if there's ever a time to just breathe in the natural air,
you're in
right
it
now.
Yes.
And when me and Sheely climbed Glacier Peak a couple weeks ago, we saw the same thing. And some people, like, as they're coming up the trailhead, would pull their mask up or down real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's probably unlikely that two athletic dudes 30 miles into the wilderness are going to give you COVID.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And if you did, the chances of you dying is like
the chances of you even getting sick. If you're 30 miles out into the wilderness, there's a good chance your body's tough enough that you're not even going to know it.
No.
You know, a good buddy of mine got COVID like a week ago.
Okay.
And shout out Lappin. And I told him, I was like, you motherfucker. I said, because up until right now, I could honestly say this is the biggest pandemic in the history of our country. And I don't know one person that's had it. Not one.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now. Do you think there was anyone during the bubonic plague that didn't know someone that was affected by it, considering it killed like 80% of Europe? Come on, man. And so he got it. And I was like, so now I can't say that anymore. Now one of my good friends got it.
Yep.
But he's like, yeah, I had a headache for a day or two, and then I had a slight fever, and now I'm already back training Jiu Jitsu. You know what I mean?
It's like, okay, so you got sick.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's what the overwhelming majority of athletic, healthy people is going to be their experience. And the thing is, yeah, there are outliers.
Of course.
Someone that has some kind of like autoimmune disease or, you know, like I said, someone with a comorbidity that is young that gets hit by this thing and it kills them. But, and this isn't me being insensitive, but we can't let the outliers and the people that are vulnerable to this dictate the entire direction of our country's future.
No.
Just let our entire economy collapse because certain people it might be fatal if they get it. I've been saying it for months. If you're at risk, protect yourself.
That's right.
If you're at risk, us as a society should rally to protect those people.
Absolutely.
That's why my wife has been grocery shopping for her parents for the last 6 months.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Take care of your people that are at risk and let the country move forward.
Yeah, you can't stop the show of 99% for 1%.
Well, and I talked to my papa a couple months ago, and I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but he's like 77. And he said to me, he goes, I realize I've stopped living life for the sole purpose to preserve life. He's like, that doesn't make sense to me.
No.
I'm not seeing my grandkids. I'm not having my kids over. So one day I can have you over? Like, what am I doing? And he's like, I just made the decision. I want my family around me. I'm 77 years old. Like, if this lasts for 2 years and you don't see your grandkids and your family for 2 years, and then how much longer do you have on this earth? Think what you're gypping yourselves out of.
Yeah. What's the point?
What's the point? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And just living in fear in general is just it's a terrible spot to find yourself in.
Well, dude, being alive, any animal on this planet, there is risk to being alive.
Yeah.
The lion goes out, there's risk. I've watched National Geographic where the lion gets fucked up by rhinos and elephants. Yeah. Dude, it's part of life, man. Yep. You can't just have all the lions sleep under the tree because one of them got fucked up by the hippo.
Yeah.
They'll all die.
And you can either die in happiness or you can lock yourself in a room and hope that you get to extend your life for however long you get to extend it for, not living.
Right.
You know,
let's live 100 years in the closet. Fuck.
Are you coming out of the closet?
No, not me, bro.
Hey, a good segue. I also looked on the Biden website and I found a very interesting paragraph that I took a screenshot of. And it's about the LGBTQ plus community. And anybody that knows me knows, like, dude, I'm not a sexist person. I'm not a homophobe. I'm not a racist.
Yep.
Right? Like, I don't give a shit what you do.
Yep.
I don't give a shit what anybody does. You want 2 wives? You want 2 husbands? You want to do the Tiger King thing? Have a bunch of animals and 2 husbands? Mm-hmm. Do you, man? That's cool, right? Like, I don't give a shit. But the other side of that is now you're seeing these politicians playing in to these movements, not because they give a shit about the LGBTQ plus community, because they want their votes.
That's it.
That's it. Like, show me what you have done to benefit these people's lives, and then I'll eat my words.
They haven't.
But you just want their votes. And so I was reading these little bullet points from the Biden website, and it says Biden and Harris are going to protect LGBTQ plus people from discrimination. Okay. Like, that's cool, man. Like, if you want to be you and you feel like you're not able to express who you are, or you're not able to join the military, or I know like when gay people weren't allowed to be married, there was problems with like taxes and whatnot, right? Because married couples do get breaks. So there are some things that maybe is unfair that needs to be addressed. And I can agree with that. But then it said, and we're going to support LGBTQ plus youth.
What's plus?
I don't know what plus is. And we're going to sound like idiots right now.
No, I don't know what plus is.
I actually asked my wife that, and she said, I think plus means like all encompassing, because there's like 48 different ones now, because the acronym can't be 70 letters long. So they keep it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then plus all the other ones. Okay.
Etc.
Etc. That's what she told me. I don't know if that's accurate or not. So stop throwing things at your phone if I'm wrong. We're gonna support LGBTQ plus youth, which, okay, that's just kind of weird. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Youth. You're talking about kids now.
Yep.
So what are you talking about? You're going to support kids based on their sexual orientation? What does that mean? I don't understand. That's just such a bullet point with it's that needs to be nuanced.
That is vague.
It's real vague. Like, what are you talking about? You're going to support kids that believe they're lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or, well, here's my ignorance again. Q.
Is that queer?
That's exactly what I said. I literally don't know. But my point is, why are you bringing youth sexual orientation into it? And what do you mean by you're going to support that? I mean, I determined that I liked girls when I was like 12 years old. And as soon as I determined that in my brain, it's the only thing I could think about. But I didn't need political support. Like, I don't understand what they're referencing by they're going to support youth that find themselves interested in that type of lifestyle. And then the next one said, we're going to protect LGBTQ plus individuals from violence. Again, shouldn't everybody be equally protected by violence?
I was going to say, I thought, they already have the same rights as me and you.
When it comes to that, you're damn right they do. Like, as a police officer, if I respond to a call and someone was assaulted, I look at the facts before me. I determined if an assault occurred. I determined if there's probable cause to make an arrest and charge someone with a crime. And if those things are met, I'm taking somebody to jail. Never once. And here's the thing. If you do assault someone based on their sexual orientation, there are things that you can add on to there, like a hate crime. Right. So yeah, that stuff already exists. But what do you mean by that bullet point? We're going to protect LGBTQ plus individuals from violence. We're also going to work to end the epidemic of violence against the transgender community. Like, you're telling me there's an epidemic of violence against the transgender community?
Well, quit trying to push it down people's fucking throat. There isn't, like you were going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it. Maybe I'm ignorant. But it just seems like for this to be on a presidential website,
right, as policies that he's going to try to implement,
you would think that there'd be a lot of validity to this.
Yeah.
It's strange that this is the first time you're hearing about it. Ensure fair treatment of the LGBTQ plus community to individuals within the criminal justice system. So what that statement says to me is, if somebody of a different sexual orientation is charged with a crime, we're going to make sure that they're treated fairly.
What?
Like, yeah, exactly. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Now, I think there is a long documented history of African Americans being mistreated by the judicial system.
100%.
I mean, that's happened. That's documented.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people that are trying to address that. And that's a good thing. We can always be better people. We can always move forward. And we do have dark spots in our history. That's part of being on planet Earth. But guess what we do? We try and make sure that we're better for the next generation. So someone that was in law enforcement for 10 years, I never saw somebody, okay, hey, we're going to charge this guy with a crime. Hey, what are you charging that guy for? Theft of a motor vehicle. Hey, do you know if he was gay? Okay, yeah, tack this on.
Right.
Or a judge at sentencing. I hereby sentence you to 120 months in federal prison. Yeah, I think that person's transgender. Like what disparaging facts do they have to show that that group of people has been mistreated by the judicial system? Because if you're going to say that on your website, I want to see what data you have that shows that group of people has been treated unfairly in our judicial system. Because I can't help but read that and think, oh, we're just trying to get our hooks in and get their vote.
Yeah.
Oh, if you fall under this community, look what we're going to do. We're going to take care of you. We're going to make sure you're treated fair. We're going to make sure you don't get exposed to violence. If you do get arrested, the judicial system's going to treat you fairly. It's just absolutely bizarre. And then the last thing it says is we're going to advance LGBTQ plus rights and development globally. And to me, like, I think the best way to advance people's rights, and I don't care if this is racial or sexual or any of that, it's just, dude, we're all the same, man.
Yeah. Why
like, I have a wife, you have a husband, I'm white, you're black. We can all do jiu-jitsu together. I can play guitar with you. Like, I'm not stressed out about any of that stuff. And I feel like harping on it all the time is actually more divisive than unifying.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. If you think of a dog, like, you have two different types of dogs. I have a different type of dog. If I was to tell you I cannot come over here because the type of dog that you have, or I think differently of you, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Us humans are the same. Like,
yeah. All shapes, sizes, colors.
What type of breed human being? We're a human being.
Yep.
And when you constantly make colors and sex and all this different shit and shove it down your throat and have your politicians trying to implement it worldwide.
Yeah, what it does is it actually becomes like a focal point. And then it causes issues because, you know, like last year when they started saying a man that identifies as a woman can use a woman's restroom. And that set people on fire nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
Because do I want some 30-year-old man in the bathroom with my 4-year-old daughter? No,
nope.
I don't. I absolutely don't.
No.
You know? But the other side of that is, how often is that happening? Is that on the level that we need to have like national outrage and anger? And now you got guys that are like, let's say Republican, conservative, religious, that are looking at the transgender community. And now they're like, those fucking guys want to go into the bathroom with my daughter. They're deviants. They're this, they're that. Whereas the truth is, most of the people that adhere to that lifestyle and consider themselves transgender probably use public bathrooms every single day, and it's never an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because guess what? You don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just living their life and we're living our life. So if that's how people are conducting themselves, guess what? It's a non-issue. So why is the flame being fanned just making people furious? And it's funny how it's like every couple months the media puts its hooks in this new, what are we going to really cause outrage over this time? And I remember that was a big one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was working one day in Seattle, and a man that was in drag went into the woman's bathroom. And I had this lady come up to me. It's like, officer, there's a man in that woman's bathroom. I saw him walk in. It's clearly a man. And I said, well, he obviously thinks he's a woman, and there's nothing that I can do legally to him.
Yep.
And he didn't go in there and do anything weird. And there was no issue. He wasn't molesting anybody, like these things that make people panic. And he came out, and I actually talked to him in 100% man wearing makeup
yeah.
and a dress.
Yeah.
But Yeah. There's nothing that a police officer can do because you want to use a bathroom that you identify with. And while I clearly think it's strange, I can't say I'm a very accepting person. Anybody that knows me knows that I am not racist, sexist, homophobe. I'm not any of those things. But I also am not being honest with you if I don't say I don't think that's strange. Like I can't see where I could get to a point where I want to put a dress on and start using women's restrooms. Like that's bizarre to me.
Well, it's not normal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not normal behavior.
And that's the thing, man. Just because I look at something and say it's not normal, that doesn't mean that I hate it or I hate that person.
No.
And I think that's a big misconception, is that a lot of things aren't normal.
No.
There's things about me that aren't normal.
And with that, with the LGBTQ and it becoming this huge thing,
Plus.
Plus, that's right. So one day I was down by Pike Place. I was installing a countertop at a new, I think it's called like Cherry Street Cafe or something like that. And I was waiting for the electricians to get out of the way so that I could install the countertop. So I had to wait. So I walked across the street, I think it was like Second, and ordered a coffee. And it's a dude, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got, bright red lipstick, 5 o'clock shadow, more jacked than I am. But
you should have asked him if he'd start training jiu-jitsu with us.
Well, I asked for a coffee, and it was a Friday because he goes, "Well, it's free shot Friday. You want an extra shot in your coffee?"
You're like, and damn right I do.
I go, yeah. Well, I can't help but to look at him because he has a 5 o'clock shadow. He's more jacked than me, but he's trying to pretend to be a woman, and clearly he isn't a woman. Well, like you said, it doesn't mean I hate him. I still got my coffee from him.
And you probably
I still gave him a tip.
You probably treated him very pleasantly.
No different than any other.
Yeah.
And when I was walking away, I thought to myself, for any of you guys listening who haven't seen me or whatever, I have tattoos all over my body. Well, a lot of people look at me like I'm a felon or a criminal or a piece of shit or I'm going to rob them.
Uh-huh.
And I have to accept the fact.
I don't think it's because of your sleeves. I think it's because of your neck piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Neck pieces say, I don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
That's why I love them, dude.
And the thing is about it is that I am fully aware that I am going to get funny looks by not everyone, but especially like a 65-year-old conservative man or woman for that matter. They do not think I'm very pleasing to look at it. Hey, this is the choice that I made, and fuck it. If you don't like it, don't look at me. Look the other way.
Yeah.
And I wish that the people in the community that we're talking about would get a little bit of that.
Adopt that same mentality.
Yes.
Like, hey, this is me, and if you don't like me, fuck yourself.
That's it. I got blue hair. I got whatever it is. I want to be a man or a giraffe or whatever the fuck it is. Do whatever you want to do. But understand, if you're going to go against the grain in life, you're going to get different looks, different takes, and that's okay.
Yeah. That's okay. Just part of the process.
It is.
And the other side of it is like, if you're going against the grain willingly, you understand you're doing something very different than the overwhelming majority of other human beings on this planet, you should be able to rationally understand that this just comes with the territory.
Yep.
And the second someone says like, "Oh, fuck you, tranny," or any of that kind of stuff, okay, no. That's what we're like, because you made that choice doesn't mean you need to be subjected to violence.
Of course.
Or harassment. And I think any of the violence, any of the assault or harassment laws that are on the books right now protect those people just like they protect us.
Mm-hmm. And also, see, sometimes I wish that I don't really know too many in that community.
No, yeah, nor do I.
But sometimes I do wish that I could talk to some of them, because there is one thing that I don't understand. And if you look at like, well, you play guitar and I play guitar, and there's certain people that were gay who I really enjoy, such as Freddie Mercury from Queen.
Oh yeah.
Elton John.
Yep.
And like Rob Halford from Judas Priest.
Yep.
They were just normal people.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't flamboyant faggots walking around.
Yeah.
Why? Like, I'm heterosexual, and we talked about the demasculinization of men, but I don't go around macho, I'm going to kick your fucking ass, arrogant, ignorant bastard. That's not what I'm talking about. Just a normal human being who's respectful, who wants to create relationships and live life. Why is it that it has to like be pushed down this certain way?
I think the people, and I don't think this just goes with sexuality. I think this goes with any human being that really wants to push in your face what they're about, be it their sexuality, be it their jiu-jitsu, be it like their education. You know, you talk to people that 10 seconds into the conversation, you know that they're a doctor or whatever it is.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
There's just a certain percentage of people that want to push what they're doing in your face.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes from a place of probably insecurity, probably wanting to be accepted,
Mm-hmm.
because you're right. If you're gay, I mean, there's been gay people that I have interacted with that you would never know is gay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I've talked about people, or I've talked about this with my friends before. It's like, it's strange that your preference of I want to have sex with a woman and you want to have sex with a man would change like your overall behavior.
Yeah. Like your
Like,
whole.
how you speak, how you walk, how you talk. Like, I feel like there are people that take whatever they do and they take it over the top.
Right. Because you weren't fucking born that way. You like some of these people, they didn't talk like that when they were 2.
I think, of course, we're from Seattle, so it's a culture thing that you see a lot up here where it's almost like they're embracing the whole role,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we're probably all guilty of that
Yeah, sure.
to a certain extent. Like, whatever your community's like, you start to kind of assimilate. And like I said, some people just really like to push. And I don't say push like they're trying to recruit or they're trying to push their views on you, but just put it out to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is who I am. This is what I believe in. And I'm just more of I guess I don't give a fuck what you're doing.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, if we sit down and talk about stuff, cool. Like, and get in the weeds with anybody about anything. But just people that want to use like a snapshot of interaction to kind of project everything that they are on you, that's just kind of bizarre, you know?
Yeah, and like I said, that's I would just like to sit down and, because I'm talking to another alpha heterosexual man about something that we know nothing about.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's, we could sit here and shoot the shit and try and like
navigate through
all
it,
the which we're not going to be able to.
And the truth is, a lot of shit that we're saying right now is probably rooted in ignorance.
Yeah,
because
probably.
I haven't, just like you said, I don't have a lot of gay friends, and I haven't sat down and had conversations like this.
Right.
But that's a cool thing about kind of where we're at right now. I think there are a lot of people that would be willing to sit down and have a conversation like this.
Absolutely.
You know?
Especially with someone like us, where it's like, look, I'm not here to make derogatory statements or belittle you. I have legit questions, and I'm sure they're going to have questions back towards me.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a conversation so that we can figure this out and shake hands and, whatever it is on the way out.
Dude, long format discussion is becoming the thing of the future.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this whole podcast medium is something that people are clinging to, because you get to sit down with someone for 2 hours and really get to understand their thought process and their points of view. And not just like I just read to you those bullet points
Mm-hmm.
from the Biden website. Sure, those are bullet points on a website, but those are the same things you see on debates,
Yep.
televised debates, or you see on CNN and Fox News. It's like breaking news. It's scrolling across the screen, and it's just a bit, just enough to kind of get you fired up, and then it's on to the next thing.
Right.
And so, like circling back to transgender men using women's bathroom, just enough to get you fired up. But if you sat down with a guy and that was his life, and he could explain to you why he felt a certain way, and this was him from the time that he was 5 years old, he always felt like this. He feels out of place with, like, I'm just saying there's a more nuanced approach to it, right?
There is.
And that's why, dude, it's like that thing I shared on my Instagram story this morning about Joe Rogan inviting both presidential candidates onto his show. And he said, I will invite both of them on if it's the three of us in a room for 4 hours. And Donald Trump, like the next day, was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And so I shared that. And then Donald Trump Jr.
shared it.
Reshared my post.
Yep.
Which is, dude, the world's just bizarre.
It's
dude.
crazy. Even I looked at that and I'm like, what the
president's son is sharing my post.
Yeah.
What the hell is that, dude? But it's just funny because I would never have expected like anything like that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole foundation of what I was saying was a political debate between two people that want to be the president of our country that lasts 4 hours is something every single candidate in the history of the presidency should be chomping at the bit to grab.
Absolutely.
Like if I was running for a political platform and Joe Rogan said, hey, come do my show, jackpot. Like now I know that I have 4 hours to talk to millions of Americans and really share my ideas, my platform, articulate it, like go into all the little details of the nuances of all the policies that you want to implement. And the fact that someone wouldn't want to do that, in my opinion, says more about their goals as a president than going on the show does.
Yes.
Like
100%. Because there's only, in at least in my head, there's only one reason why you would say no.
Yeah, and it's because you know you don't have real legs to stand on.
You don't have what it takes.
You know that you would crumble in that environment.
Yeah.
And so if you're afraid, I would fucking sit down with Donald Trump right now for 4 hours.
So would I.
And
so would I. I'd sit down with Biden for 4 hours.
I don't even have a fraction of the understanding of all of these different worldwide policies. And I mean, if you look at his website, there is literally 100 different policies that he is going to change. And it's like, I don't even know if the human brain is capable of having opinions on 100 different policies.
Right.
You know? But it's just very obvious that this isn't you, man. This is a team of people that sat down, typed all these bullet points, threw it up on your webpage, and we're trying to fucking get our hooks in people with these quick little bullet points about if you're gay, we're going to not let you be subjected to violence. Boom. Okay. We got that community. If you're this, if you're that. But at the end of the day, there's no meat and potatoes on anything.
Right.
And so if you're afraid to go do a 4-hour debate on Joe Rogan's show, it's saying that there is no meat and potatoes. This is all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah. It's, you're not fit for the job. And this has kind of been a huge thing, like with the whole, you know, the police doing this or all these different things where it's like people are finding out that there's a way to become something and you have to be fit for the job. The reason why I'm not a sales representative for customer service at Chase Bank is because I'm not fit for the job.
Exactly.
And it doesn't mean I'm of lesser value or that I'm an inferior human.
You got to find your niche.
It means that I'm not meant for that. But you know what I am good at? I'm good at building things. Where the salesman probably isn't very good at building things. And that's okay. That's why that's how the economy works. That's how I don't know.
But you just see the Biden presidency push from the Democratic Party, in my opinion, is one of the most bizarre things that I've ever experienced in my 40 years on planet Earth. Because I feel like there was so much hate for Trump for the last 4 years that you'd think they would seize the opportunity. Like, hey, our fucking smear campaign of Trump is working. You got a lot of people that think he is a reincarnation of Adolf Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put a powerhouse player in there, someone that's charismatic, someone that seems caring, someone that is articulate, someone that can stand up on the stage and smile at people and show them that he's human or that she's human. Like, there's people out there that meet all of those criteria. And what do? They gave you the most inept, inarticulate, like frail human being out of everybody that was up on that stage.
Who's a fucking creep, dude?
Yeah,
Dude.
Yeah.
We all, like, my buddies and all, we all say, it's Joe, hold her tighter, she's a fighter Biden. Fucking bastard, man.
And so, what are they doing? Like,
I don't know.
That's a serious question.
Yeah.
I have to, okay, so there's one of two answers for this. They have a master plan that runs deeper than I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
And on the eve of the election, are they going to pull him and say Hillary's stepping in or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Because if they do that, then you know damn well this whole thing was planned out months in advance, right? Or is the other side of this is that the government is just so inept and has their head so far up their own ass that they can't even find a fucking dude that can string 2 sentences together to step up on that stage and run for the presidency of the United States of America.
That I don't know.
Because I've seen so much like mishandling of money and just immoral behavior. I've seen so much shit in the government in the last 20 years. I always tell people the reason that I doubt conspiracy theories is because the government is not capable of putting something like that together. Like that's why I don't give any validity to the 9/11 conspiracy theories that Bush is responsible for taking the Twin Towers down. Do you know how many people would have to be part of that? And you know how many people would have to know and have played a role and put the bombs in the buildings and like all of these things that would have to happen?
Mm-hmm.
I just think you're giving the government way too much credit. And that's someone that's worked with all kinds of special operations guys. I've worked with the CIA. I've worked with State Department diplomats. I've worked with Supreme Court justices. Like, there's a lot of people that are in government that are not that capable of human beings.
Yep.
That's probably why they find themselves in government. Because it's actually, I mean, you show up, you get your paycheck, you don't have to do much.
Yep.
Once you're in the government, nothing is based on merit. Like, there's actually a saying that they say with government employees is fuck up, move up. It's like the people that get promoted seem to be like the worst performers, not the best, which is the opposite in the private sector.
Yeah.
Like if you're the shittiest welder in your shop, you're probably not going to be the go-to guy.
Definitely not.
But if you're the shittiest politician, for some reason, they just keep fucking showing up.
You may be the next president.
Yeah, there they are again.
Yes.
There they are again. And then 47 years later, after 3 brain aneurysms and the inability to put 2 sentences together, you're going to be the president of the United States of America.
Yep.
And it's funny. Like I didn't even consider myself like a Democrat or a Republican for a long time.
Okay.
I grew up very conservative. My dad was hardcore conservative. And that's kind of why I felt like I kind of shifted more middle of the road because he was angry every single night. Fuck Bill Clinton. Fuck Hillary Clinton. That fucking bitch. That whore. Like every single night. He was mad about the Clintons and then he was mad about Obama. And I remember just thinking like, dude, a large portion of your life has been filled with cortisol running through your veins because you're mad at these individuals that are on our television screen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that doesn't make sense to me, especially when there's only so much you can do to affect what's going to change in your personal life based on who's president, right? So I tried to go more away from politics. I'm going to worry about the things that I can affect.
Yeah.
I'm going to worry about things that have an impact on my family, on my future, on my finances. But dude, in the last year, I feel like the government's going into a direction where my kids' future's on the line.
Yeah.
And part of me wants to look the other way and be like, dude, just focus on jiu-jitsu, focus on your health, focus on your family and try and be happy. But I also don't want to be an ostrich with my head in the sand because with all the stuff that we talked about today with like the guns and the left trying to seize the presidency with this just bizarre tactic and all the coronavirus stuff, just continuously stripping people of their rights. You can't look at that and say there's not an agenda.
That's it. And I think as an adult, as an American citizen, it's almost like you have an obligation to at least, I mean, you don't have to be fully, 100% in it, but you need to know what's going on.
You have an obligation, especially in my opinion, if you have children.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I cannot just go quietly into the night knowing that in 30 years they're going to be under the rule of a tyrannical government.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my entire military career was based around trying to give other people on other sides of the world their freedom, overthrowing the Saddam regime, overthrowing the Taliban, right?
Yep.
So if I'm willing to literally risk my physical safety in my life to give other human beings freedom on the other side of the planet, what the fuck should I be willing to do for my own children?
Exactly.
Anything and everything.
Yep.
And so, to tell you the truth, man, it's kind of exhausting.
Yes.
Because I've been consumed by it.
Yeah.
And I'm constantly trying to walk that line like, okay, you're reading too much shit on your phone.
Yep.
You're getting too fired up. And like I mentioned last time we talked, walking in the mountains for those 2 days, bro, literally and figuratively a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Just like,
So nice.
decompressed. But again, like you said, I feel like I have an obligation to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to tell you the truth, man, I'm looking forward to the election being over.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
But then what's going to happen?
Well, exactly.
I see nothing but, and I'm not someone of despair. I have hope, but at least at the beginning, if Trump wins, these people who are looting and rioting and burning shit down and shooting people right now, it isn't going to get any better.
Yeah.
And if it goes the other way, well, we just read a few of the bulletins he's trying to implement.
And those are non-negotiable to me.
Exactly.
Like, and again, it's not tough guy talk.
No.
I'm not giving you my weapons.
So then we have the election and it's like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Where do we go from there?
Man.
Like, to be honest, we talked about fear last time.
Yep.
About fear being an illusion, but danger being very real.
Yep.
I don't know if I fear it, but it does scare the shit out of me.
Yeah. I think the next 4 years, regardless of what president gets elected, are going to change the trajectory for the next 200 years.
I'm 100%.
And I know everybody probably thinks that every presidential election, but like I was talking to my papa and he's like, this is the most pivotal times I've ever experienced as a 70-something-year-old man. Like, this isn't just me saying it at 40 and him saying it at 77. Like, I think it's legitimately the most pivotal time in our country's history.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to have to, I feel like everybody is kind of waiting in the sidelines. Like, how is all this going to shake out? Let's just see.
Mm-hmm.
The election's 6 weeks away at this point?
Fuck, yeah, like 48 days or something.
So I think everybody is kind of hopeful, like, okay, maybe after the election, we can kind of move on with life and the COVID shit will probably disappear and hopefully our economy gets built back up. Because if the economy's strong and people are able to do what they want and live their life and pursue like their happiness,
mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody gives a shit if a Democrat or Republican's in.
No.
But if you're now trying to trample on our liberties and take our guns and force us to wrap shit around our face and my kids can't go to school anymore, people can't take much more of this, man.
Yep.
I think something, if this continues, something will be a catalyst that basically sets this country on fire, obviously, figuratively, but I think that fire is going to spread across the country
mm-hmm.
in the fucking drop of a hat.
Yeah, fast. Because
after the elections are over, if people are still in our cities throwing Molotov cocktails, I think people are going to be done with it.
I think so too.
I'm fucking done with it. And I'm not going to beat a dead horse here because I know we talked about it last time, but I think about it a lot. And I try and put myself in a position where I think about what am I obligated to do? What is like ethical for me to do? Who should I be willing to defend with my life?
Yep.
And what am I basically, how am I obligated to protect my community as an able-bodied American man?
Yeah.
And I think a lot about it because my priority is my family, right?
Yep.
It's not some business downtown Seattle
Mm-mm.
that doesn't give a shit about his own business either and
Right.
has fled and is not taking any actions.
No, he already ran away.
So there's a lot that goes into this, but I feel like come November 5th, a lot of people are going to reach a point where, okay, we sat on the sidelines long enough. And if you're going to fucking come into our cities and you're going to burn and loot and you're going to riot, it's going to be game on.
Yeah, it has to. It has to fucking stop at some point. I mean, you can't.
I mean, it's definitely slowed down, but like you said, the election may spark it up again.
If it goes the way that they don't want it to go.
And at that point, it's on, dude.
It is.
And maybe this is just wishful thinking on my part, but I don't think Trump can lose this election.
I don't think so either.
I think he could have if they picked a powerhouse.
Yes.
But I don't think with who they chose that they can win. And maybe I'll be wrong. I hope not, but fuck, dude.
Well, here's the thing. On our last podcast, when I told you if I don't wear a mask or if I do this or that fuck you, you anti-Trumper, or you opposite of that.
Yeah, you're Trump
right?
supporter.
You Trump supporter. And I had said, dude, I didn't vote for Trump. Oh, I didn't vote for Obama. I didn't. There was one time, you guys are all going to love this. There was one time when I just graduated high school. I knew nothing about politics. And I grew up in Edmonds, Linwood area. Everyone went down to Seattle. So I would just categorize myself as a Democrat or a liberal, right? Because that's where I grew up and that's what my friends were. My parents never really were into it. They pretty much went off of my friends and my friends' parents.
And you're just trying to figure it out.
As
an 18-year-old kid.
Yep. And I remember we all got our ballots. We had registered to vote, all of my buddies, and we all sent them in.
Dude, you're an adult now. Let's vote.
Yeah. And so we're all going to vote for Obama. It was when Obama and McCain.
Okay.
Yeah. I know nothing about either of them. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm literally just checking boxes.
Well, why do you think there's a push to get the voting age lowered to 16 years old?
Exactly.
Because they want to capitalize on ignorant 16-year-old kids that aren't reading about the candidates and just saying, hey, it's cool to vote for this guy.
Yep. So during the time, we all sent it in, okay? We're all going to vote for Obama. When we get back to the house, I don't know, we must have, partied a little bit or something like that. Everyone's like, yeah, well, that was 7 votes for Obama or whatever. And I go, 6. And they go, what do you mean 6? I go, I checked the other box at the last minute. Dude, my friends were so fucking pissed. I know nothing about McCain. I've always gone against the grain, and there it was again. But this year, I am going to vote for Trump. And the reason is if I don't vote, then I'm just kind of throwing it away.
Yep. And you feel like this is an important enough election.
Yep. And I really don't want Biden.
Yep.
And if I vote Trump and he happens to get elected, that's great. And if he turns out to be a shithead down the end of the road, I'll say the same fucking thing about him. And I brought that up on Instagram too, because people say, well, I just brought up how Biden's fucking creepy, right?
Yep.
Well, you have the other side who says the same thing about Trump.
Yep.
And I have said on my Instagram, if it comes out that Trump is doing the same fucking shit, pedophile, Epstein Island shit, off that motherfucker too.
Yeah.
But as of right now, I personally don't feel that way. And I'm definitely going that way this time.
Well, and there's a lot of people, myself included, and I've always liked Trump as I watched The Apprentice. Me and my ex-girlfriend that was our show, right?
Yeah, he's the G.
And it was just fun, right? And so he already had a name. But that's not why I voted for him.
Mm-hmm.
I voted for him last time because I despise Hillary Clinton to my core.
Yeah, me too. She should be in prison.
Everything about that woman, just irks me. And it always has.
What do you think about her emails on WikiLeaks?
Dude, it's well, of course, they said that she's exempt from having to produce them now.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. That's what the latest court.
Oh, she doesn't have to show it.
No, she doesn't have to show
from
him,
Anthony Weiner's laptop that just fucking randomly goes. Dude.
Bro, the Clintons have been. Remember when I told you my dad was mad all the time growing up? I was a little kid. And he's like, the Clintons are murderers. Vince Foster didn't kill himself. Like, and he's talking about like the forensics at the scene and stuff. And like, that was me growing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fast forward all these years, like one of my best friends that lives in Idaho, his roommate was the guy that got killed in Benghazi. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Like the special operations community felt like the Obama administration would just hang them out to dry.
They would.
And they did.
They did.
And so like, there's that sticker that goes around, Hillary killed my friends. And that's what they're talking about. That's a special operations sticker.
Okay.
Because it's the guys that are from that community that felt like she just turned their back on them. Because there was teams that were in an AO close enough to respond to that.
Yeah.
And they asked for permission. Nope.
Yeah, like a few minutes away, right?
Yeah. I think it's more than a few minutes, but still someone that could respond as a QRF, right?
Yeah.
And so what did Hillary do? She said, no. That wasn't because of that whole outrage was because of an internet cartoon. Do you remember that? Do you remember when they blamed the whole Benghazi riot on a YouTube cartoon or a YouTube video? It wasn't a cartoon. It was an actual video.
Okay.
Right. This is how gross this is, dude. This is how gross the government is. I'm ashamed that I fucking took part in it. I should have had the balls to tell the government to fuck off long before I did. They issued an arrest warrant for that guy. He was in Los Angeles, California. The guy that made the YouTube video that Hillary Clinton said is the reason Benghazi happened. He got arrested by my team.
Really?
I was a U.S. Marshal at the time. And if anybody doubts this story, I can fucking prove it. We arrested him. He was an old man too. He was like 70 years old, some old Jewish guy. He was too medically unfit to be taken to prison. And so what they did is they put him at the hospital, and my team had to sit there with him and do 24-hour security on him because he made this internet video that caused Benghazi. And you want to know what they charged him with is that he had been in trouble previously, some completely unrelated charge federally. And part of his terms and conditions, once he was released, was he could never use an alias.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, they do that. So the federal government, they don't call it parole. They call it supervised release.
Okay.
And they have what are called terms and conditions of supervised release. So once you're once you're released from prison, you have all these different standards that the government can hold you to. And so let's say you were arrested for fraud and you're using fake names. Okay, part of your terms and conditions of supervised release is you can use no other name other than your true and correct name.
Okay.
So I mean,
that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a reason for it.
Yeah,
right? Yeah. His YouTube username wasn't his real name. They said he violated his terms and conditions of supervised release. Go arrest that guy.
Whose YouTube username is their real name?
That's the shit. That's how dirty the government is. It's ridiculous, dude. And so like seeing that, I'm like, there's not a chance in hell that I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton.
No.
So.
Well, you see like the Clinton body count.
Yeah, exactly. So Donald Trump got my vote because the Democrats put an absolute inept candidate in there. And I'm happy with the presidency that Donald Trump has had for the last 4 years.
Oh, he's done a lot of really good shit.
But the truth is, he got my vote initially because I would do anything to make sure that Hillary Clinton is not our president.
And that's where I'm at now.
And exactly, that's where a lot of people are at now.
Well, I mean, now that I see after 4 years, like there's more to it, but whereas I didn't vote before, except for the one time when I just wanted to go against my friends.
Dude, truth be told, I'd be voting for Trump against probably any candidate that the Democrats put up right now.
Most likely, yes.
Because I'm happy with President Trump. But the other side of the coin is there's a lot of people that are like a swing voter that will go either way. Right? And I feel like the Democratic Party has absolutely shot themselves in the foot, appealing to the middle of the road people that can get pulled either direction with who they put in the front, you know?
And one of the things too that I'm not really sure why the media is not putting more emphasis on this. I just seen, and I'm sure you've seen about this peace treaty that Trump's put between Bahrain and Israel and
the UAE.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
Bro,
That's fucking huge. They've been fighting forever.
The thing that makes me support President Trump is it has become very apparent over the last couple of years that nothing he does is good and everything he does is bad.
Yes.
And it was the opposite for Barack Obama.
Yep.
That guy walked on water like Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And like, remember when Trump went and met Kim Jong-un
Yep.
of North Korea?
Yeah.
Dude, he went to the demilitarized zone and he shook his hand and they sat down. All the headlines. Trump's meeting with the enemy.
Yeah.
Trump is corroborating with the North Koreans. Dude, if Obama went and shook Kim Jong-un's hand to discuss peace between North Korea and the free world, he would have been the fucking messiah, dude. He would have got a Nobel Peace Prize for that. And it's like, Trump can do no right. And once you realize that it's an agenda-driven thing that is constant, it makes you realize, okay, there's a reason they want this guy out of there. And why is that? And I have to come to the conclusion is that he's not on board with big government ruling every aspect of your fucking life.
Well,
so guess what? Now I'm on board with him, you know?
Yeah. And, there's a conspiracy theory out there that it's actually not a conspiracy. If you look into the UN and the Council of Foreign Relations and you see the people who are actually in charge of this planet, there is something called New World Order. And if you have the time to get into all the bullshit, it's too much for me. I'm not that smart of a guy, but I would dismiss it anytime I heard it. And over the last, few years, I've dabbled in it, and New World Order is a real fucking thing. It's just like it's globalism. You see it. It's happening. Trump doesn't want that. And
I've heard a lot of people speak to that as well. But similarly to what you just said, I'm not well versed on the New World Order thing.
Exactly.
I'm not read up on it. I don't know what's fact and what's fiction. So for me to sit here and speak to it would just be blowing smoke out of my
I don't want
ass,
to either, because I don't want to sound like a fucking idiot. But
no, I do think that Trump does not want globalism.
That's it.
He doesn't want China and Russia to be superpowers.
Nope.
He wants the United States of America to be a superpower.
Yep.
He wants us to be the winners. Why is that a bad thing?
I don't know. I don't know. Because it's not globalism. It's not one world currency, one world, laws.
Yeah, they say Biden's son makes $85,000 a month working for the Chinese, And so it's like, it's pretty apparent how on one side you do look at like globalism.
Mm-hmm.
And why would they want that? Because they're becoming filthy fucking rich through it.
That's right.
Whereas that's what's appealing about Trump from the very beginning. He doesn't give a fuck about your money.
No, because he's not being sponsored on either side. He made his own money.
So once you can't be bought, that's a different thing, man. That's a very different thing. Oh, we'll endorse you and we'll give you fucking $40 million to do this. Yeah, good.
Nah.
I already have $40 million.
Yeah, nah.
Fuck yourself.
Yep.
All right, bro. Well, damn. We're already at an hour and 50 minutes, and guess where we got to be? Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah, buddy. Let's go smash.
I got to open the gym in 20 minutes. So you got anything else before we wrap this up?
Oh, no, not really. Just go train Jiu Jitsu.
All right, it's time. I dug it. Talks with Tyler, part 2 in the books.
Right on, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Until next time, guys. We're out.